because as all of you, I've got some things that I would like to say as well. And normally I try not to speak my opinion, but tonight on an issue like this, I do feel compelled to say something. Before I was a school board member, I was a father first, and it was as a father that really made me think about being a board member. And one of the things that we talk about, we have a policy that says that parents are essential, and that the school division views parents as being the primary educators of their children when it comes to their gender and their sexual orientation, their sexual identity. So to have a policy that contradicts that, I think that tonight what we would be doing if we adopted this policy is we would have to throw that other policy out as well, because those two things are in conflict with one another. Parents can't be essential, and then we have a set of procedures that says that we're not going to honor the rights of parents. Those two things can't be true. And then, of course, before I was a father, I was a Christian. And you all know me. Sometimes you make jokes, make fun of me for being a very religious, guy. But as also very religious, I've been very private, right? We talk a lot about, or I practice not trying to impose my religious beliefs on anyone else, right? But this policy and this procedure imposes a set of beliefs on everyone. It says that gender is a spectrum, which I am as understanding and empathetic with everyone, and always respect other people's beliefs. I don't have, as a religious person, I don't believe that, and then therefore I don't want that imposed upon me and my family and other children to have to believe that. We heard tonight that this notion, what follows the adoption of believing that gender is a spectrum, then it moves into our curriculum, which right now, as family life dictates, kids can opt out of, but if we adopt it as a policy as non-discrimination, it's going to permeate into our curriculum as being required that everyone has to believe this, and if you don't, then you are a bigot or you're discriminating. And I can't abide by the notion that because I have a different belief that I'm a bigot. I have a different belief, and I respect your right to have a different belief as well. And then just developmentally, my concern, as always, our mission is children. I know that there's a lot of scientific thought and discussion. I'm not sure that a child is really in a position to decide what their gender is when they're a child. And I've always been of the opinion, hey, my belief is always, hey, do what you will, and our job is let's get them to be adults and they can make whatever decisions they want to make and make their choices. So the notion of a child making that decision on their own, and then being on their own, and us being between the parents and them, that's a mess that I don't. It's personally a mess that I don't want, and that's of course, again, that's just me. The other thing that that concerns me in terms of the procedure as written today, a child can make infinite changes to their gender. So they come in 1 week, I feel like a boy. Next week, I feel like a girl. Next week, I feel non-binary. Next week, I feel this. Now, I'm not trying to make a cartoon or trying to say that people will do that, but I'm saying the procedure as written allows for that, and that's potentially chaos. There has to be changes to student records and all of that every time this child says that, and they can theoretically come in and say, don't tell my parents, I've changed this and I've changed my name, and then there's going to be an impact on their student records. And just, it's a as Ms. Amon pointed out, I think it's a nightmare to try to manage. So we are, as board members, we are in a position to make a decision. Yes, the General Assembly passed a law. They passed a bad law, in my opinion. But their law required us to take a vote, which is what we're about to do tonight. Okay? So the fact that we have to take a vote means it does fall to us. And I don't believe that we can actually defer this responsibility by saying, well, the General Assembly made me do it. When the General Assembly, so it's one thing, I very much believe in following the law, so I don't want people to take me as a hypocrite because I talk about following the law all the time. When the law violates the Constitution, then it's a bad law. Okay, in this case, this law violates the Constitution. And we're talking about that, well, if we had more time, we develop some different procedures, we'd have something tailored to Newport News. There's nothing stopping us from doing that. If we voted this down tonight, there's nothing stopping us from Next month, after that, developing a set of procedures, doing what we normally do, develop some procedures, put it out there to the public, have some focus groups, let the public look at it, vet it, come back and say, hey, here's our procedures that are tailored to Newport News Public Schools, and adopt that. As we've heard tonight, I would say this, even if the liability for our school division was at a significant level, which I believe it's not, I'd still vote against this. And so that's my comment, and that's my perspective. So at this time now, I'll just ask. We have the main motion, and I said it because I said I would, offer up this opportunity. Are there any amendments to the main motion? Okay. Hearing none. Is there any further discussion? That being the case, then Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Ely,
Against.
Harris,
Against.
Hunter,
For.
Searles Law,
Against.
Amon,
Against.
Best,
Abstain.
Brown.
Against.
Wow.
Okay, motion fails 5 to 1, 1 abstain.